Hello guys, what is up? My name is Dylan. Welcome to the Popcorn Podcast. I hope everyone is doing fantastic. So I got the chance to see Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness a little earlier than the official release date. I saw it last night. It is of course the latest entry into the Marvel Cinematic Universe, the MCU. A film that naturally, as a huge fan of this franchise and these characters, I was incredibly excited to see. You know, it was one of my most anticipated films of the year, no doubt. And I'm pretty mixed overall, guys, I won't lie. But just before we jump into my thoughts on the film, a quick disclaimer, this review will contain spoilers. I don't feel like I can fully articulate some of my thoughts without talking about specific plot points. So this video will contain spoilers. So please, guys, if you haven't seen Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, please go and check the film out before you watch this video. Once you have, feel free to come back and comment your thoughts down below and let me know what you thought of the film. But without further ado, guys, let's jump into the review. I feel like with every new MCU film that comes out, I'm always saying that it is one of the most ambitious projects that they've done so far. And don't get me wrong, that is still the case here with this new Doctor Strange film. But I still feel like they could have gone even bigger and even more ambitious with some of the ideas in this film. Honestly, guys, for a film titled The Multiverse of Madness, I just don't think that they made use of the multiverse and its endless possibilities as much as I think that they should have, or as much as I would have hoped that they would have. And this is definitely a criticism for the film's plot, because the multiverse as a concept, as writers and as creators, I feel like should be incredibly liberating to play around with, right? Like, you can literally do anything. The possibilities are pretty much endless. But as I was watching this film, I still felt a sense of being trapped within the MCU's sandbox, as opposed to really letting my mind go wild with imagination. I also feel like another reason why this was the case is because this film is really fast-paced, guys. And usually I don't have a problem with films that are fast-paced. In fact, I quite enjoy them sometimes. But this just felt a little too fast. It felt like a sprint to the finish line. The runtime is just over 2 hours long, and this makes it one of the shortest MCU films, and it wastes absolutely no time when moving from scene to scene. There aren't really that many moments that allow you to sort of step back, breathe, and really process what is going on. There is so much happening all the time. There are so many new characters. There are so many new pieces of information that you need to know that I feel like if they added an additional, say, 15 or 20 minutes, a lot of the character arcs in particular might have felt more fulfilled by the time the credits hit. So moving on to some of the characters in this film, Scarlet Witch turns out to be the main antagonist of the film, as a lot of us thought she would be. And I, for one, really enjoyed seeing her go down the darker side as opposed to what we're usually used to seeing from her in the films thus far in the series. I do think you should watch WandaVision before watching this film. But regardless, I think Elizabeth Olsen is once again really great here as Wanda Maximoff. At times, she's able to really find a good balance between the sort of darker, more twisted, sinister aspects of her character and really sort of blend that in well with the more gentle, the more motherly, the more human qualities that her character also possesses. For me, she was the best, the most interesting character in this entire film, and for me also, as much as this is a Doctor Strange film, this is also very much a Scarlet Witch film. But speaking of Doctor Strange, I think Benedict Cumberbatch is once again terrific as Doctor Strange, but I'm still finding it quite difficult to get emotionally attached to his character. I've always seen him as this character that I think is so fucking cool. Like, guys, when he fought Thanos in Infinity War, I lost my shit. And even in this film, he does some pretty fucking awesome stuff, like the whole dream walking stuff that he does and the musical battle that he has with himself towards the end of the film. But I still feel like I haven't connected with him properly on an emotional level. I mean, there are some attempts to do that in this film, particularly through Rachel McAdams' character, Christine, but to be honest, I'm not really that invested in the dynamic that the two of them share. There's also a sort of brief mention from our Strange to the Evil Strange about how they both lost their sister when they were younger. But I think it felt very tacked on as opposed to something that was genuinely propelling the story. America Chavez is a new character that is introduced in this film, and I think she was likable for the most part. I can tell she's going to be very important down the line, definitely going to come in handy in future films. Let's talk about the Illuminati. So the Illuminati, as someone who loves Marvel Comics, this was something I was really fucking excited to see in this film. But honestly, guys, unfortunately, it ended up being one of my least favorite parts of this film. Well, at least from a plot perspective. Now, the best way I can describe why I feel like this is to bring up Spider-Man No Way Home. In Spider-Man No Way Home, Tobey and Andrew coming back was very much in service to that story, in service to the growth of Tom Holland's Spider-Man, right? That is why their involvement felt, to me at least, so emotionally satisfying. And to put it simply, that was fan service done right, you know, done as good as it could have been done. The Illuminati in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, honestly, I can't believe I'm saying this, it was pretty comical. I couldn't really take it seriously, and to be honest, I was kind of pulled out of the film, which is a shame, because if they were in real service to the story and the evolution of Doctor Strange as a character, I would have been fine, I would have been happy. But guys, this is what I didn't really want to happen, you know, just fan service for the sake of being fan service. Yes, of course, I loved seeing Patrick Stewart back as Charles Xavier, and I loved hearing when he entered the room, they played the 90s X-Men animated series, the theme from that. And of course, those little things there I really appreciate. But then 5 minutes later, he gets his neck snapped by Wanda and he just dies. John Krasinski as Reed Richards was just fantastic to see from a fan casting perspective, but at the same time, hella disappointing because we didn't really get to see him do anything. I mean, like, Wanda just walked in and essentially cheese grated his entire body. And look, I know, Scarlet Witch could probably dispose of all of the Illuminati pretty easily, or at least most of them. But at the same time, I still wanted to see more use of their abilities, you know? The whole sequence just felt like, do you guys remember X-Force from Deadpool 2? Where it kind of felt like that. Like, that's how hastily and that's how quickly that everything just happened. But except for that, at least that film, at least Deadpool 2, that it was going for the humor. With this, I just don't know. What I will say though is the saving grace of this film, for me at least, is Sam Raimi. If there is one distinct difference that Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness has over the other films in the MCU, it is the direction. This is for sure the closest thing we've had to a Marvel horror film, and I can definitely see, you know, young kids going to check this film out and being scared to death at some of the scenes. Nothing that really tops the hospital scene from Spider-Man 2, but Raimi does bring his unique stamp, and that for me was really refreshing to see. From the jump scares to the body horror to the blood and somewhat brutal violence, that was the stuff I'd say I enjoyed the most and still allowed me to, despite the issues that I have with the film, still have a good time with it. So guys, those are some of my overall thoughts on Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. I think I'm gonna give the film a B for now. I think if it wasn't for Sam Raimi, it would have been a little bit lower, but hey, that's just me. I am seeing the film again tomorrow night, so I'll be interested to see if any of my thoughts change on a second viewing. Guys, if you enjoyed the video, be sure to leave a like and consider subscribing to the channel if you are new. Comment your thoughts on Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness down below. I would love to know what you thought of the film, whether you loved it, whether you didn't love it so much, if you're a bit mixed like me. Let me know. Also, I will link my previous Marvel MCU sort of base videos that I've done here on the channel in the description box down below in case anyone wants to check out any of my thoughts on any of the previous projects. You can find them down below. But for now, guys, as always, thank you so much for watching the video, and I will catch you very soon in the next.